Hey guys, Sundown Rider here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Punch Man 87, Monster Nature. Now this chapter was really good. We got to see more of an interaction between, or we got to see an interaction between Saitama and Garo. And that's something we haven't really seen before, but we got to see both of them kind of being developed in their own separate ways. So it was kind of nice to see, and I did enjoy the chapter. Now, the chapter starts off with us seeing something very real. The effects of the recent monster invasion on the human populace of this country where City Z and all that take place. I assume this isn't the world, but City Z and all that is where the country or whatever that has City Z, City A, and all the alphabetical cities. That's where we're concentrated. So we have groups of humans who are calling for the surrender of the human race in the hopes that regular sacrifices to their new monster overlords will appease them, in terms of they won't kill the rest of us if we just sacrifice a few people to them. And we have a whole bunch of humans who have turned to violence and criminality, seeing this as kind of like their end of days situation. So they're like, oh, forget it, we might as well just go apeshit. We're gonna die in a few days anyway. So the human race has kind of gone apeshit in this area with all these cities. Meanwhile, Garo walks through all this commotion, all this bullshittery basically, and he's kind of helping people by accident. It's kind of within his nature to help people even by accident, and he saves someone that this extremist group, they're calling for the surrender of the human race and will just sacrifice people. They designate one person, they're like, oh, you're going to be our next sacrifice because you called our cause bullshit. So they designate him as the sacrifice, and Garo happens to save him. He does like a little flick on a guy, sends him reeling into another guy, and I thought, yo, that's pretty cool. So he saves that guy. He also saves an old man from this dude who's drunk, and he was getting his ass beat by one of these new criminals, the drunk guy. And Garo saves him as well in this cool knife breaking / pointing at someone with the knife's blade scene. So that was really cool. And what I like about this was how disappointed Garo was about the reaction of the humans and the human race to the monster invasion. Disappointed by the fact that he's part of this race that has reacted in such a weak and kind of a failure type of mentality. I also like how he realizes that the damage, that this damages how he'll be received when he becomes the monster he dreams of becoming. You know, when he becomes the pinnacle of monsters and he showcases to the world, this is the type of monster I am. They've already been through this monster invasion, so they're not going to be that shit scared of him. They're just going to be like, oh, well, you might as well just kill us. We're waiting. Just kill us already. So this does damage how he's going to be received as a monster, and he's also upset about that. So he's got a lot of things on his mind. And then Garo, in true shonen fashion, proceeds to munch the whole menu out of diner, eating his way back into shape. As you'd expect, he's peeling off his plasters. He's like, oh yeah, I'm regenerating big time. I'm just like, yo, okay. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. So somehow, some way, Saitama is in the exact same diner. And I'm just like, oh, okay, we know where this is going. There's going to be some form of interaction. There has to be. They're not just going to walk by each other. And what I liked here was the parallels that were being drawn between Garo and Saitama. They're at the same place at the same time, but they're even playing the same word game. You know, like it's some sort of wordplay game. They rhyme a word into a sentence that doesn't really make sense. But they're both worried about completely different things. You know, you have. We'll get onto that later, but it's as if they're trying to say that if Garo had guided his anger, you know, these parallels they're trying to draw. It's as if they're trying to say that if Garo had guided his anger, hatred, and strength towards bettering himself, he might have been a little bit more like Saitama, who guided his anger at the system and the world in general towards bettering himself in order to better others, and in order to better everyone else essentially. But he got too good, and that's Saitama's issue. So obviously the scenes that ensue once Saitama then discovers that his wallet has been lost was hilarious. I was like, oh my, like this is pure Saitama. And you can see how being so overly powerful, which is Saitama's issue, has truly changed his perspective and his outlook on life. The world as they know it is in crisis. People are going ape and they're talking about sacrificing each other and stuff like that. This is like really, really inhumane things that people are starting to do, and they're bowing down to their monster overlords and things like that. The whole world's gone to shit. Meanwhile, Saitama shits bricks because he might have to do a dine-and-dash, and you're just like, this guy's his whole perspective and his prerogative has changed, and it's just a refreshing thing to see, and it's pretty funny. Luckily, Fubuki walks in on Saitama, trying to lure him into her Fubuki group by saying that they should hunt the hero hunter together. Saitama's guile here, his wit, was classic, and I was like, this guy's amazing. He orders Fubuki some fries so that he could basically dash at a given opportunity and have her pay for his food because she's eating with him, you know. So his spacing out face while Fubuki is talking, that was hilarious. I was like, he's there like, and he looks like he's spazzing out. So that was funny as shit. And his grin, his demonic grin when she eats the fries just shows how the little things literally keep Saitama going. The human and mundane things, because he's become too great to be concerned by the things others deem as terrifying and incomparable, immeasurable, things like that. He's become too great for that shit. So it's the little things, the human and mundane things that keep him going and really keep him on track. So that's a really weird way of looking at it when you look at Saitama's character in general. His shock then when the diner workers shout about Garo leaving without paying was hilarious, because he thinks they're talking about him and he's like, wait, I didn't do it yet. And I was like, oh, this guy. So then the goal that Saitama has to give chase to Garo, all whilst talking about how despicable an act a dine-and-dash is. I was laughing my ass off. So the whole scene is capped off by Fubuki when she realizes exactly what Saitama has done to her. She's like, oh my god, he's made me pay for his ass. What a stingy ass. So I was like, yo. And I loved how when she clocked on, her face is just like, this guy, I hate him so much. And he's always like trying to dash out on her anyway, so it's sad times for her, but she's trying to lure him into a Fubuki group which he doesn't want to be a part of. So we then go back to Garo, who's run away and he's panting a bit, but he sees that kid who he protected when the heroes were hunting him down, and that kid's being bullied, and obviously this resonates with Garo, who has a history of being bullied, and he has to step in. And it turns out, we find out that Garo is only 18, so I was like, yo, he's really young. I mean, Saitama's at least 23, 24. So the kid then apologizes to Garo for running earlier away from Garo, saying that Garo must be a hero because of his actions. Garo stops him from completing his sentence, partly because it's sickening, he doesn't want to hear that stuff, but mostly because even though he does some morally good shit sometimes, he doesn't want to be known as a hero. And we find out more about that when Garo talks about Bang later on in the chapter, but we'll come to that. So yeah, and this comes back to Garo's whole confused ideology. Essentially, he doesn't believe that monsters are all evil, seeing them as a nation who have been prejudged and painted with a broad brush almost. That's kind of like the layer of the top layer of this whole thing. But then being bullied by kids who idolized heroes and wanted to become heroes in the past, this is Garo. He has this twisted notion that all heroes are simply a result of favoritism, corruption, social aptitude, their ability to socialize. And due to this, he believes they also lack morality, which we know for a fact all of them don't. Only Saitama lacks morality. So he wants to change this. But he doesn't know how to go about doing it, and in fact he's going about it the total wrong way, trying to kill off innocent heroes and becoming a monster. Essentially, he's confused as hell. He wants to kill off all these heroes because they lack morality, because they're all there only because they have friends who are powerful and everything's corrupt, and he wants to change that, but he doesn't know how to do it, and he's going about it killing off people, and you're just like, somewhere along the line your train of thought messed up just a bit, you gone off the tracks, bruh. So yeah, essentially he's confused as hell. So then getting back to the point, just as Garo and the kid get to a sour note in their conversation, Saitama shows up, essentially thanking Garo for thank you for the timing of your dine-and-dash, it really helped me out. So what I'll do here is I'll just warn you and then I'll do one. And that's essentially what he does. He gives him a warning like don't dine-and-dash, and then he runs away. So then the running gag of Garo and Saitama not recognizing one another continues, and it's hilarious to see because you have two huge powerhouses, Garo and Saitama, possibly the biggest challenges either of them will face for now, and they've no idea who the other is. And you're just like, this is so fun. The interaction between them is just hilarious because they don't know that either of them will be the bosses that they'll have to face at the end of the game. So it's just a really compelling read, and I'm enjoying reading it like that. Saitama whispering his hero name when Garo asks him you must be a hero, what's your name, identify yourself, and he's just like, keep it baldy. I was like, yo, he hates his name with such a passion, and he just whispers it to himself. That's hilarious. And then Garo being like, it sounded heroic enough. I was like, what a guy. So then Garo has had enough of being pitied by Saitama, the kid, and even the Monster Association. So he decides he'll kill Saitama, and this is his descent down a very slippery slope. He mentions the relief he felt when Bang survived, and this is what I was saying. He's confused because he did feel relief when Bang survived. And it shows that inner morality that he does possess. He was a student of Bang. He can't be all bad. But something I mentioned and something I used in my argument to say that Garo was actually still too human to murder someone in cold blood was this relief that I said he felt last chapter. It was clear on his face. He felt this relief when he was told that Bang was alive. But he steels himself and pledges to develop the resolve to become a monster. And he's like, I gotta do this. I gotta become a monster. So he pulls Saitama's shoulder, ready to deliver the killing blow. Only Saitama ends him in one punch, as you'd expect, just because he doesn't want to be associated with the guy who dine-and-dashed. He's like, oh, I can't be with this guy, oh shit, and he just ends him. So I was like, it's sad times for Garo, but Garo, he's one of those guys who knows so much but knows so little, and he really couldn't do anything in that situation. And Saitama doesn't even attempt to provide first aid. The savage just runs away straight after clattering Garo. I was like, what a legend, what a guy. So then the chapter ends with Royal Ripper and Bug God deeming Garo as someone without the qualities of a monster. You know, you're not one of us. You haven't portrayed anything that would signify or suggest that you would be a good monster. So they ready themselves to kill him as Garo readies himself to kill them. And once again, Garo stood in between the aggressors and the child. You know, the kid that he's been protecting for like a day now. So he stood between them and him, and he's protecting him once again. So essentially what I think is 2 demon level monsters with Garo at around 50 to 60, maybe maximum 70% full health in terms of his general health. I think he's going to take him out pretty easily. I think he may have a little trouble actually, seeing as I did mention earlier that just running from the store had him panting. But he'll take them out nonetheless. Maybe he'll learn something from beating them. Maybe he'll learn about monster cells. Maybe he'll learn more about the monster organization or something like that. Or maybe he'll have to start to be on the run from the Monster Association because he killed 2 of their demon level monsters. And they did mention, Gyorogoro did mention that they do have very few demon level and above ranked monsters at this moment in time, so taking out 2 of their demon level monsters would piss them off greatly. So maybe this is kind of like the beginning of Garo going against the Monster Association, and maybe even this is what the trend that he follows. Maybe he just goes out and takes out the Monster Association methodically, becoming stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until he eventually leads or becomes a leading figure in the Monster Association along with Orochi or something, or maybe he defeats Orochi, I don't know. And then Saitama comes in, he's like, hey, time to finish this, and that's how they end up fighting. But who knows? We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter. The similarities and the differences between Saitama and Garo were really illustrated very well, and I enjoyed reading it. It was really fun. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the chapter. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hopefully tomorrow should be my My Hero Academia review. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys then.